48-hour art check.
On Memorial Day.
On Memorial Day. The holiday edition.
All right.
All right. So here we are. Are you seeing it streaming?
Yes, I am.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. So, what have you done this weekend?
It's been a really super relaxing weekend. And so it's been full of a lot of family stuff. And other than just like, your basic kind of typical like holiday stuff where we went on a couple little trips and stuff like that, I managed to get the rough like type layout laid out, and then the two images that you're seeing on the right are just the finalized t-shirt design. So I finally finished that for the client. So like the design on the top left is like what'll go on the back of the items, and then the front will be like the little illustration. So that was a relief to kind of get that finished. I really enjoy that client, and they compensated me fairly, but it's this weird thing. Whenever I have freelance, it's not fully finished, I always feel this like kind of strange, tenuous anxiety, and so it's nice to have that done and out of the way, and being able to focus on my own stuff. So I got the progress I kind of needed to, but not what I was hoping. Like I was kind of hoping today to have at least rough pencils in there as well, but it's looking like that'll be something I have to do tomorrow. So ideally, the next time we talk, I'll have rough to tight pencils at least started on the page. So yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. That shirt looks awesome.
Yeah, it was all right. It's it's fun to do.
Yeah.
Fun client.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
How much photo reference are you using for those poses?
For a lot of those poses, it's a mix. It's like, some of it I have to totally invent. Some of it I use tons of photo reference. I pretty much, with most of my art and illustration, will use and utilize as much, photo reference as I can find.
Yeah.
Or take.
Right.
So, but, yeah, in a pinch, you still have to invent quite a lot.
Oh, yeah. No, even when using photo references, you're still inventing stuff. It looks good. That's cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So how was your productivity? Good?
Yeah, it was good. My hand hurts, which is probably a good sign. My wife and daughter went out of town yesterday morning, got caught in holiday Vegas traffic trying to get to Disneyland. So they get to kind of like tag along to a ride, a school trip, and they had extra tickets. Anyway, so it's kind of like a semi-free. I mean, we got to pay for gas and hotels and stuff. But so they were gone, and while they were gone, I inked this page, and I included kind of a close-up on the right there. This is two 11 by 17 pages. I'm not done yet, but most of it is spotting blacks at this point. And so that was a ton of work, and it was kind of interesting because of all the different textures. And what I was trying to do is go for kind of on the left there where he's fishing, go for a lot of depth. So you can see he's sitting on a pier, and I'm not totally happy with the underside of that pier, but everything else I think turned out pretty well. And so that's kind of that. I'll show you some of the textures and stuff, but you can see like, these are like authentic prints that you would see on actual kimonos of the Jomon period, and looked up barnacles and wood and rope and mountains and rocks, and the rocks are kind of kicking my butt there, but water, and then I just basically got to ink their house, and then behind her is just going to be kind of a blacked out craggy cliff everywhere. So Yeah, so
Nice. So
that's mainly it. Sorry, go ahead.
that seems like a lot of progress from compared to the last time we talked. Like that's a pretty huge amount of work there.
Yeah, so the last time we had talked, I was hoping to get this page penciled before we talked next, and I had it.
Yeah.
So I did that, and got the inks in on about 80% of it. So yeah, that was more progress than I had hoped. But when there's nobody in your house and you're just alone for 2 days, it's kind of easier. So
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense.
yeah,
That looks really great. That's a really nice looking page.
thank you. Yeah,
Or spread, I should say. Yeah.
yeah, it'll be good. That's the introduction to the characters in the book. So I kind of have been intimidated by that page because I wanted it to be really impressive. So the opening spread of the book, you'll open and you'll see kind of a long shot of just their house, and they're like super teeny. You don't really notice them. And then the next page, when you open the next spread, we've zoomed way in, and it's the introduction to these two characters. So the first spread is like setting the scene. Second spread is like introducing the characters, and then the next spread we push in further into the woods. And so there's kind of this like ongoing. I don't know if anybody's going to notice, but there's kind of this ongoing like pan in or zoom in kind of situation for the first little bit of the book.
It's awesome.
Yeah. So,
And subtle stuff like that does get noticed, like even subconsciously. Like I don't know if everybody notices it consciously, but
right.
it's like, I think that's a really good way to go. That looks great.
Thanks. Yeah.
It's cool.
So what struggles have you had?
Let me see. So my biggest struggle this week has been literally just the need to have kind of like a day to relax.
Mm-hmm.
And so I actually did kind of take one day off, which I usually don't do. I'm not opposed to taking days off. Like I think sometimes in our culture, I feel like we kind of overemphasize the working 16 hours a day and taking pride in that, and just kind of like people working themselves to death. And it almost becomes like a banner of pride. So I do think it's occasionally really important to have like a day, like a Sabbath or a rest day or something like that. And for me, it's like, just kind of actually allowing myself one was kind of nice. However, I still am slightly a workaholic as well, so I feel a pinch of guilt having one day that was kind of free of comics. And so I'm gonna kind of allow myself that day and allow myself to be like okay with it, but definitely gonna try to kind of like hit it on a daily basis regardless, because I do think in order to get these mass projects done, you gotta carve at it all the time.
Yeah. Well, and you've mentioned before, and I think most people feel this way. You take a day off, and then you get that feeling of terror that that could be 10 years. One day could be I'm just gonna take a break on this for a minute, and then and then you haven't done anything for 2 weeks or 3 months or whatever.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And so I guess that would be my biggest struggle is like, that. However, the nice thing is today was not the day I took off. So that means I kind of got back at it. So that's good.
And the nice thing about what we're doing right now is I have taken days off, but I know that I'm never going to take more than one day off because I have to show some kind of progress, And so, yeah. So that's
no, and that's true. That might have actually partially been some of the motivation to me getting back on it today too. So that, and that's the point. Like I'm hoping to, yeah. Go ahead. Yeah. Anyhow, I think it's yours.
Yeah,
so your struggles.
I had some kind of the opposite struggles. I've been struggling with productivity a lot last week, but in the last 2 or 3 days with everybody out of town. And with today being not a work day, I didn't have to teach today. I had an opposite problem where I was drawing so much that my hand started to hurt, and so I actually had to get we have like a back massager, and I was like massaging. Here's a trick: if you massage up here, you know. Anyway, I had this thing that just pounds, and so I had to kind of like intentionally stop myself because I think I was heading towards injury, and so I like massage it out. But the problem is I've been listening to audiobooks while I've been doing the last couple of days, and I was listening to this audiobook and massaging my arm, and I fell asleep. I have no idea how long I was asleep on the couch. And so I just woke up like half an hour ago. I don't know when, but I mean, you know, those are easy and relaxing and fun problems to have. That I accidentally took a nap while I was massaging my arm. so yeah, it's been good. It's been good.
With wrist pain, I can definitely mention like that's something that's pretty common with people, especially with inking when you traditionally ink and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I always recommend get like one of those braces, and when you start to feel that during the day, wear it overnight when you sleep.
Oh, that's good.
Because I've had a lot of friends go through it, pain, stuff like that from that.
Yeah.
And if you wear that brace, a lot of the time, a lot of the damage you actually do to your arm is because you're doing repetitive motion during the day. And by the time you go to sleep, your brain starts having your hand do the repetitive motion in your sleep.
Oh, interesting.
And so a lot of that, at least that's helped me. It had been told to me, and I got an arm brace, and I'll wear it if I start feeling any of that weird pain that'll be right here.
Yeah.
You know, it usually penetrates about here, and like sometimes it'll go under your armpit.
Yeah.
And it's like I anytime I even start to feel that pain, I wear it that night, and surprisingly, it pretty much has quelled a lot of that.
Yeah, that's cool.
Which is kind of cool.
I have also used those. Have you used one of those gyroscope balls?
Oh, nice.
Those are awesome.
That's right.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know what it does exactly, but it just because my pain will happen a lot in the tendons that attach to the top of my fingers. I think I when I start to concentrate, I pinch down too hard. Because it used to be that I'd bend my wrist like this, but I've kind of trained myself to do that. But now I pinch really hard, and that it hurts back in here and up in here.
Got it.
Gyroscope ball works that out really well.
That's awesome.
So
that's right.
Anyway,
tips and tricks for avoiding hand pain.
Yeah. And,
but I mean, it's real. The struggle is real.
Yeah, Brandon Dayton has a really good video on that, where he goes through a number of different exercises to avoid hand pain on his YouTube channel. Yeah. So, what are your plans for the next 2 days?
So I think I mentioned it before, but the main goal is to pencil the next page of Quarterly Stories. And so I want to at least have rough pencils for it done. It might take a little longer because the first panel is going to be an overhead shot of the location. And so sometimes those can take a little longer. But I think realistically I should be able to hit that by then. Yeah.
And
so
you're gonna reference the actual location, right? You're doing a real.
Yeah, I mean, it would, like with an overhead shot at that angle probably won't exist. So I'll just sort of have to pull from whatever I can find and sort of piece it together and then map it out. But that's pretty fun to do, actually. I like doing that.
Yeah.
And then in this more cartoony style, it kind of is a little simpler because I can get away with fudging a little bit of the perspective. It's not quite as tedious as like in this book, I've had to do scenes of like the Burnside Bridge where I wanted it to be very accurate to the Burnside Bridge. So that took all this measurement and like just ridiculous amounts of time to get the perspective right.
Yeah.
But in this case, it's like, I think as long as, everything kind of flows, it shouldn't be as difficult.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much my goal. And then, obviously just, with a long break, like I took a Friday off, so I've had like a 4-day weekend, and the fear always approaching it is going to be that, that like getting back into the workflow and then finding that 10-minute window will be difficult.
Right.
But I think that that's going to be pretty achievable.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Cool.
What about you?
I am going to finish this page tonight because if I don't, then it'll take me another 2 days, and it shouldn't. I've probably only got 2 hours max, maybe an hour and some change left on it, and so I'll finish that, and then I've actually been recording time lapse of most of the inking, and so I'd like to do another vlog. I'd like to keep to maybe a vlog a week if I've got it. And I had today on Twitter has been weird. I made one comment about this intellectual copyright thing, and then I've had a bunch of people arguing with me about intellectual property all day on Twitter, and it's just goes to reinforce one of my biggest pet peeves is that the general public has zero concept of what public domain actually means and what intellectual property rights actually are. So I might go on a rant again and just talk about intellectual property rights. I mean, there were people saying, oh, that guy doesn't own that photo because there's more that you have to do than just take it. And I was like, nope, copyright exists the moment a work is created. There's nothing else. Like, you can register it if you... Anyway, so I might do that, but I will talk about something. I don't know. I don't know if I want to rant about that, because then I don't know. Maybe I will. I'm not sure. And then there's also another topic that I want to go into, and I'm not sure. I don't know what I'm going to talk about, but I'm going to do a video, and then I need to knock out probably the pencils of another spread, because it's kind of crunch time. I'm down to the wire where I need to finish. I need to finish more than a spread a week to hit this deadline that I've made for myself. Mainly the deadline is we're gonna go pick up my son when he's born, and I'd like to have the book inked before that, because I'm imagining I won't sleep or have much time after the fact, and I want to lose momentum on the project and then come back a couple weeks later and be like, oh yeah, I forgot I was working on this. So
yeah.
So I need to, if that's gonna happen, I need to do two pages a week and some change. So, somewhere between 2 and 3 pages a week until then, and then I'll knock out the rest of the book.
Yeah.
So, and that's a pretty fast pace for me. I don't normally work that quickly. So
nice.
But yeah, so we'll see.
Do you think you'll be able to hit it?
I think so. Yeah.
Nice.
I mean, it's one of those things where I've set a deadline, and so I'll do what I need to do to hit it, which might mean probably I'd like to avoid it, but it might mean some pretty late nights. I'd like to avoid kind of an all-nighter, but it'll definitely mean some working into the early hours in the morning a few times, I think. So,
yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see it. I'm excited to see it happen.
Yeah, it'll be cool. And then the rest of it, I think I can, then you start to do lettering, and I can kind of do that easier.
Yeah.
That's not as intense, because I don't hand letter like you do. And then there's, like book layout and stuff like that. Like it isn't as intense of a process as the penciling and inking is.
That makes perfect sense.
So, and coloring, I mean, I'm not necessarily, that's not a real strong suit of mine, but it's not like a thinking thing for me. It's just, it's mostly just kind of, you flat it, you spot where you want lights and darks, and then from there it's pretty easy. So
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's funny that you mentioned copyright law. So I might be able to talk about it a little more, but there's like kind of a class action settlement that I'm a part of against a entire t-shirt company.
Oh, cool.
That's been ripping off a mass amount of artists. And so it's being kind of spearheaded by some of the bigger names in the t-shirt industry. And I just got my paperwork and stuff for that. So that's a goal actually as well, is to fill out all my paperwork for my representation in the lawsuit as well.
That's awesome.
Because there's a lot of people. And so it's like, I'll probably, make maybe like $2 from it, but I know that because they're ripping off so many artists, but but it'll be nice to see that company that's irresponsibly like publishing other people's material get taken to task. So I'll let you guys know more specifics when I can.
Yeah, when you're allowed to talk about that, or when it won't hurt the case, I would love to talk about that. That would be really fascinating. Because even if you don't make a dime off of it, just taking somebody like that off the internet and setting a legal precedent that is possible is huge.
Yeah, and I don't even know if I don't know if the goal is to. I mean, the goal is definitely going to be to remove the work,
right?
But I think the goal will be to make them, hurt a little financially to kind of learn their lesson, hopefully. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, but the cool thing about cases like that, and I'm not super up on intellectual copyright, like current legal practices that are happening. I mean, I understand the basics of it enough to, like everybody else. But the cool thing about like that is most copyright law today, because the laws were written for print and broadcast, and so they're very outdated. They have nothing to say about the internet, and so everything that has come since then has been legal precedent, which is legal, right? But it's being adjudicated, and so this will probably set a significant legal precedent for moving forward, which could do a number of things. One being a bunch of other sites that do the same thing could also get sued now that there's a precedent set. And then another thing that it could do is it could be cited as a reason for people to understand that this behavior isn't okay. And so it could like curtail future theft of art and stuff.
Yeah,
so and it's got a pretty big reach, I think, especially since it's so many big names.
The exciting thing about this particular company too is they're in the U.S., so it's like there's a lot of action that can be taken, which is pretty awesome. So we'll see how it goes. And the other nice thing is I'm not having to foot the legal bill, so I'm definitely supportive of it. So yeah. All right. Well, anything else we should kind of wrap this up with, or?
No. How's the chat? Anybody jump in?
Chat's kind of dead, to be honest. But then once again, I think once people kind of get more used to us, like we were just discussing this before even going live, like we're both going to make more of an effort to kind of give people a heads up a little bit before we go live so that you guys can join us as it's happening. So I'm sure that'll pick up steam as we go.
Yeah, we'd love to have a chat. It's a little hard because we don't do it at the same time every day, but it's always going to be Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So cool. So you can check out Josh's work, and if you're going to steal it, you might get sued. So that's be warned. But go to quarterlystories.com. You can check out my stuff at corykerr.com. We're both all over social media as well, and you're on my YouTube channel right now or Facebook page, and we alternate between his channel and my channel, so make sure to subscribe to both of us. And special thanks to No Saboteurs for licensing the intro music, and we'll catch you guys later.